the call, you guys. If you're just tuning in, go ahead and drop in the chat below where you're coming in from. We want to see you active in there. That is what makes these so fun. And just as a couple of housekeeping rules, just so everybody knows, if you're new here, we do have these AM power calls every single day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. That would be, there we go. That's a little bit better. It's like my light was giving me a shadow on my face. 8 a.m. Pacific, 9 Mountain, 10 Central, and 11 Eastern. If you are unable to catch it live, which we always recommend doing because it's fun and you get to be interactive and engaging and see what's happening in the chat, we do have our own podcast. So you can actually catch our AM Power Calls on our team podcast. It's the One Team podcast, our AM Power Calls. You can find them there on any streaming platform. And we also have them on YouTube. So I'm your host today, you guys. My name is Heidi Stallard. I am your Chief Impact Officer here at Vital Health. And I'm coming to you guys out of Fort Worth, Texas, or actually a little town outside of Fort Worth, Texas. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about taking it back to the basics, which I think is always good. As somebody who has, over 10 years experience in this industry, built teams all around the world, done this, that, and the other, all the things, right? Like one of the things that I do take pride in is not all of these fancy skills that like I've maybe learned over the years, which I don't think I'm that fancy, to be quite honest with you. I think the thing that I pride myself on is really being able to keep it simple. And I don't know about you guys, but when I got started in this business, the type of learning that I was attracted to were the things that really made things make sense, And so last night we actually had a call with our VP of Sales, Mr. David Nieves, and it was phenomenal. If you missed that call, I would see if there's a recording you can snag, or just make sure to hop on the next power hour with us because it was so valuable. In fact, if you were on that call last night, go ahead and drop a 2 in the chat below. I just want to see, I know we had over 100 people on that call. And it was powerful, you guys. I love just getting together and having the synergy of us all working together and getting to learn. But the things that we were learning last night are really the same things that I learned 10 years ago. And so if you're new here, I tell you all of that to kind of give you some wisdom in really saying that, hey, you know what? Genius lies in simplicity, or simplicity lies in being a genius, however you want to phrase that. And if you can learn to keep things super simple here and just use that KISS method, keep it super simple, you can make a lot of money and impact a lot of lives and become the person that you feel like you're called to be just by doing that. And so although we can kind of get lost in the sauce sometimes in the world of business and entrepreneurship and network marketing and sales and promotion and social media, all of those things are great, but those are kind of accessory add-ons to the fundamentals, if you will. And I wanted to take it even more simple and kind of give you guys some things today, like actions you can take today that will help to further your business that require zero skill whatsoever. Does that sound attractive to you guys? If so, I want to see a 5 in the chat below. I know for me, if I can just have a little checklist of some things, like what are some things, like if I'm busy and I'm like, you know what are some things that I need to do today? Or maybe you are, just getting started, or maybe you had, maybe you're coming out of like a week of having the flu or a week of travel or whatever that might look like for you. And you're like, where do I start now? These are the things that I'm going to tell you guys that can really help you. And so some of them I have in slides, some of them I have in my notes right here. And so I'm going to be kind of walking you guys through. Let me go ahead and actually pull up let me actually close out some tabs here so that my brain can focus, because I've got about 7,000 tabs for you guys open. Here we go. All right. Yes, I need simple too. It's the only way I can get things done, if I'm being honest. So let's do this. All right. Hallelujah. Sorry, y'all had to hear that. Okay, here we go, folks. And let's go ahead and just do this right here. Why am I struggling with this? View presentation. Like what? Sometimes technology. Oh, it's because that mouse isn't working. I have two mouse. I have my keyboard mouse and then I have my trackpad mouse. And to be quite honest with you guys, I need to charge my trackpad mouse. So that's not working underneath my computer. That's okay. Here we go. All right, these slides are not the prettiest because again, we're talking about simplicity here, but present and go. Share screen. Ta-da. All right, so this really was inspired by really my daughter getting ready to go back to school. And we are in the middle of like just making sure like we've been having conversations in our house. We've been reading different books. We've been just kind of, going over different word groups for her. She's getting ready to go into second grade. So we're basically just kind of going over, and I'm not doing like a huge deep dive. So if you're not doing this with your kids, please don't feel like you're like missing something. But I'm just kind of, it's our first year in public school. We've done homeschool and homeschool co-op, and I'm just going over all the things that like she's learned in kinder and first, and prepping her. And we've been having conversations about what are some things that we can do at school, like what kind of friends do we want to make, and these are conversations you can have with yourself. What kind of friends are we going to make? What are the characteristics in the friends that we want to make? What kind of friend do we want to be? What kind of goals do we want to have for the new school year coming up? Again, none of these require skills. So this is right off the bat kind of something I'm talking to you, but just kind of sharing with you where my head was at when I put this training together, because, we're just highlighting everything that she already knows. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Sometimes it's not that you need to learn a new skill. It's just that you need to be reminded of one. And again, these things today require no skill. So be having those conversations with yourself. Like, what kind of person do you want to attract into your business? What characteristics might they have? Start thinking of those people and just putting them on a list. And then also, what kind of person do you want to be, right? And showing up as that person. Now, yeah, you might have to develop some skills to be that person along the way, but what are some things that you could do that require no skill? Right? Showing up on time, taking notes. These are things that you can do today to further your business that require no skill. Other things that you can do, right, that require no skill is being a person of your word. If you tell somebody, follow up with it, do it, make a commitment and follow through with it. Those things require no skill, but that's not part of the training. That's just a little bonus added material. Because like I said, this training was really inspired from like getting back to school, going back to the basics. And I'm trying to go to the next slide here, but it's not letting me. There we go. And one of the things that you can do right off the gate is, if you guys are not already active in our Vital Health Wellness community, we do have one for affiliates, but this is our public community that we want you to add your customers and prospects into. So if you're not added into this, make sure that you get with one of your upline support members and get added to this group. But this is basically a way for you to keep your prospects interested by plugging them in. So if you are talking to somebody and you're trying to get them, scheduled to watch some information, or maybe they've already watched some information, this is a great community for you to just plug them in, because as we are, sharing different testimonials or things that are happening within our group, we're getting ready to launch another challenge at the end of this month. Actually, it's not even at the end of this month, it's like coming up. So if you are, I think next week, I'm trying to think how many days. Anyways, don't count me on my math, but we have one coming up. And so people get to see the engagement from that. They get to, it's basically a built-in follow-up tool. And if for prospects, it's nice because you're kind of giving them behind the scenes access, right? You're showing them this vision of not only what's happening in Vital Health, but how they could plug their people in and how their people could see the exciting things that we have going on here. And really, guys, anytime that they are hopping onto Facebook, if they're a part of this group and somebody makes a post, guess what's appearing in their feed, right? It's posts from this. So another thing, which I should have added as a bullet point on here, is engage in this group. I don't want you to get sucked away for hours a day in this Facebook group, but if there's something that you're looking to do, like and you're like, what can I do today to help grow my business or grow, my team? Go put 5 to 10 comments in this group on different posts and make sure that you're liking them, right? Because every time you do that, it's triggering the algorithm like, hey, this group is very valuable to people. People are engaging in it. Therefore, the algorithm, I'm speaking as the algorithm is like, therefore, now I'm going to show the material in this group to more people because it's got a lot happening. And the whole point of the algorithm's job is to keep people on the platform. So you want to think about things like that. So make sure that you're adding in your prospects and your customers to this group or potential customers. Make sure that you're engaging in this group, right? If you are doing it, maybe you have some prospects in there, they see that you're active, they're like, ooh, Sally's in the group and she's, adding things in there and adding her own testimony and making sure to comment, and they see, oh, that's okay, I can do that too. So yeah, make sure to add your own testimony in there for sure. If you haven't done that, that's something you can do today. And then of course adding in your own customers, because this is just going to keep them engaged and it's going to continue to educate them and provide value for them. So this is a tool also for education and is a huge value add, because obviously as customers are in this group, if we have different promotions, if we have different challenges, if we have different testimonials, maybe they're trying, maybe they're drinking V Daily and our collagen, but they had no idea how powerful our glutathione is, right? Or maybe somebody's drinking coffee, but they see somebody else drinking the detox tea. Things like that are just going to basically give your customers more exposure and allow them to kind of open up their peripherals to gain, more product knowledge and, for our other products that we have and carry. So just going to make your job easier all around, especially if you're not somebody that is great at following up with your customers. This is a great way for you to kind of have that safety net insurance, if you will. So, uh, excuse me, I'm out of breath because I'm prego here. And currently, my daughter just decided to start kicking on my bladder, so that's very comfortable. Anyways, speaking of customer follow-up, if you are not somebody that is great at following up, consider this your friendly reminder. Again, this requires absolutely zero skill. Here's the thing, guys, is that you can send your customers thank you notes when they order, whether that is old school snail mail, or maybe you create a cute little template or something like that. I always like to, send a little thank you right after somebody orders just via text. But I will tell you, it means so much to people and really makes you a standout partner when you send true thank you notes. Again, it doesn't matter if it's like a little template that you made them, on Canva. I just prefer old school, thank you notes. I have like probably 20 different designs of thank you notes in my closet, and you don't even have to send them out every single time somebody orders. Obviously, that is ideal, but I just want to give you the permission that if you missed an order maybe from 36 days ago, 37 days ago, and you haven't sent a thank you note, guess what you can do today? You can do that today. I once read that a thank you note, I'm just going to make up the statistics because I can't remember them. But the statistic, or the bottom line of the statistic that I read was, you can send a thank you note 90 days out from like an event or a gift or an order, and it still has like the same emotional impact as if you were to have sent it like the day after. In fact, it's almost kind of like delayed gratification, because people realize that it wasn't something that you did automatically, but something that you thought of later and took that moment to just take time out of your day and write them a thank you note. So, I try to do them. I don't, if I'm able to do them every day, I will. But typically, that's something that I do every other month or every 90 days at the very least. But you could do it today, even if you just have one or two customers. In fact, the fewer customers you have, the easier it is. Send holiday greetings via text. It doesn't have to be an exact date. I know for many of you, we have lots of holidays coming up, so it's lots of excuses for you to build your relationships with your customers. Um, and I'm a big fan of like, I don't like to actually spend the day sending out messages or having to reply to them on holidays. So chances are, if you wish me Merry Christmas on Merry Christmas, I'm not going to get back to you on Christmas Day. It's going to be 24 hours later. Especially considering this year that is my due date. So I have no idea if I'm going to be having a baby or not then. But what I will typically do is if I know, Thanksgiving is coming up and I'm like, hey, I know this is Thanksgiving week. I wanted to go ahead and send an early text message just saying happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. I hope God blesses you with lots of fun memories this week and that you guys have, safe travels if you're going anywhere. And people are like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. It's almost a little bit better if you do it in advance. And so I kind of have gotten the last 2 or 3 years, I've actually started sending holiday greetings before. And so guess what? You could actually schedule that in your calendar right now. Like you could schedule that for, getting back to school. Hey, I know school's starting soon for you and your kids. I know you have kids and they're probably starting back at school. Just wanted to say, like, hope you guys have a great back to school season. Blessings to your kids. I hope they have a great year and that everything goes smoothly, right? You could do it for Labor Day. You could do it for, uh, you know, Halloween. You could do it for Thanksgiving. You could do it for Christmas. You could do it for Canada Day. You could do it for Boxing Day. You can do it for New Year's. You can do it for really anything that you can find an excuse for just to keep that relationship open. Set birthday reminders for them. This is always something super sweet. And just keep in touch. If you build a relationship with them and just educate them continually, that is how you're going to build retention. Showing your customers that they're not just like a number and an order, is what will create retention in your business. If you have a customer that orders and they don't automatically get on auto ship, but you're reminding them every 30 days that you're an engaged participant in their health and wellness journey, chances are they're going to reorder again anyways. So that's something that you can do. And just knowing that you're a valued customer. How many times have you ever ordered from even a big company, right? Maybe you have been a customer of a company for a while, then you stopped ordering, and then it's like 60 days after you not ordering, they're sending you an email and they're like, hey, we miss you. How are you? We just want to let you know of this sale we have going on, or wanted to let you know that we just came out with this new product. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, obviously they're doing mass emails, but imagine the effect that that would have on your own personal business if you could do this. And again, it requires no skill. It just requires being a human. So next one, you guys, is building rapport with your current partners. And so just like appreciation for customers builds retention, relationships with your partners builds retention. And so again, it doesn't mean that like you have to, know every answer to your, partner's questions. It doesn't mean that you have to, you know, here's the reality. Sometimes we enroll people into the business that are better business builders than us, right? Especially if you're somebody that's like fairly new, but you have somebody that's in your business that maybe has a little bit more experience with you. And so I remember 10 years ago, I had a girl on my team and she started growing. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to help her grow however I can. We were just as new. She was almost as new as I was. And what was cool is through helping her and making the decision to help her no matter what, I obviously grew, continued to grow. So helping other people helps you grow your skill set along the way. But there's things that you can do to build rapport with your current partners. Again, that takes no skill, right? You can send a voice memo to them to just check in. Sometimes, I will tell you, Brooke and David are phenomenal at that. I want to tell you guys a story actually. So this had to have been 8 years ago. I remember I was shopping in Target and I was very pregnant with my first daughter. And I was very pregnant and very in my feels about life in general. I was just having a moment of like pregnancy hormones. And I remember David calling me. And I remember I was like, oh gosh, like, does he need something? I'm at the store. And I remember he called me just to check in. And I was so emotional that day. And poor David probably had no idea how emotional I was that day. And he was like, hey. And I was like, what's up? Like, can I help you? Do you need something? I've got this going on, like telling him like things in my business. He's like, Heidi, I'm just calling to check on you. How are you? And I just remember I was in the, I mean, this is how much it mattered to me. I mean, I was pushing my Target cart and I was going down the like party bag aisle, like where you buy bags and tissue paper and things like that, and thank you cards. Actually, I think I was shopping for thank you cards for my baby shower that was coming up, and I was super stressed. And I remember he was like, "I'm just calling to see how you are." And I was just like, and I just like started tearing up. And there was nothing that was like inherently bothering me or anything. It was just emotions of, not that I can remember anyways. I just remember that meant so much to me, that in a time where I'm feeling just like pregnant and emotional and overwhelmed and trying to balance a baby shower and a business and like, all of the things that come with like, being later in pregnancy. And he just called to say hi. And that meant so much to me. So I just want you guys to know that if I can remember that moment so clearly, pushing a cart in a Target party aisle, you have no idea what kind of impression that you're going to make on somebody, because there are people in your team that are going through things that maybe they are not going to tell you or maybe they aren't publicly announcing, but just knowing that somebody gives a something about them means so much. Celebrate people's wins publicly, their stories, their chats, their team calls. Again, doing this on the Facebook page is a great way to do this, but even going the extra mile to do those things. Ask people how their week is going. I mean, sending a quick message to be like, hey, it hasn't been, if I haven't talked to somebody in a while, I'm always like, hey, it's been a minute. Like, let's set up a catch up call or let's set up a catch up Zoom. It opens the opportunity, if we're not able to schedule something, for us to, have a text conversation and just like see how they're going. If we're catching up about business or life or all of the above, you can tag them in relevant post tips and training. So like if you see one of our wellness challenges that we have coming up, if you see a training, go live in the group, you can tag your business partners in that, right? Things like that. Or if we have a promotion, just sending them and being like, hey, I just want to make sure that you saw this. Again, requires no skill, just you being there to support them. Offer to co-work or co-host something together, just seeing like, hey, is there anything I can help you with? How can I best support you? That's one of my favorite questions to ask people. How can I support you? Shout them out in your stories just because. Remind them why you're proud to be on this journey with them. Like, hey, I'm so happy that you are on this journey with me. Like, it's so fun. Like, I love working with you as a person. Like, I love the energy that you bring to the team. I know all the things that you have going on at home, and I just want you to know it's very admirable that you're working, on something outside of everything you have going on. Be a cheerleader, not just an upline, right? It's, that's the thing too, right? Sometimes you have to put your ego in check. And some people, they'll go through this and they're like, I need to be the upline. I'm like, it's not necessarily about being the upline. It's really just about being a it's about creating this like it's like, how do I want to say this? It's about collaborating and creating a space where everybody's working together. In fact, I almost have this idea that like the leader will be known, but not because they're demanding it, but because they're just out helping people, right? And so, when it looks like work, the leader's doing the same thing as everybody else. And so, don't feel like you have to be this, like, you need to be like X amount of ranks above your people to be an upline. You don't. You just need to be a good cheerleader. I remember in my previous company of a lady, she was telling a story of somebody that was in her downline, and for like years, the gentleman that was in her downline was outranking her. And so she just made the decision that she was going to be the best cheerleader, best support system for him no matter what. And eventually over time, the tables turned and she ended up outranking him by quite a long shot, ended up being one of the top earners. But I remember that story sticking with me because I remember thinking of like the ego that I had when I got started in this business. Like, well, I should be able to be the upline or whatever because we're trained to be bosses, or that we need to have this certain hierarchy. But the reality is that the best leaders are the best cheerleaders, and that requires zero skill. Being an upline can require some skill, but being a cheerleader requires none. Ask for their inputs. People just stay where they feel seen and appreciated, right? People are walking around with a sign on them that says like, I am important. So if you can just make your business partners feel important, you're going to build that relationship with them and keep them around. Follow up with your heart, not just with volume, right? If you know that they're, struggling with their kids or struggling in their marriage or, just recovering from surgery or maybe having to have one or, just anything, right? You may not know all those things. Like, hey, how are things in your life? Like, how's everything? Like, what do you like to do for fun? Like, kind of getting to know your business partners, I think is one of the funnest parts because I mean, where else do you make friends as an adult? That's the truth. I like literally my best friends are made in business because I get exposed to so many more people in this industry. And then I get to know so many more people because of it and get to find who I'm aligned with. Let them know that you're praying with that for them if it aligns with your brand. That's one of the things I'm constantly doing for people is praying for them or letting them know I'm praying for them. And if that's not your mojo, that's fine. Just say like, hey, I'm thinking of you, or I'm wishing you the best, or I'm sending you energy. Sometimes I will send people just like funny reels or memes or gifts, or a picture if I'm out somewhere, um, you know, different inside jokes that we have. And I just try to like keep those small things. They're not like big grand gestures. It's just something to be like, hey, I saw this silly sign at the airport, thought of you, kind of thing. Things like that. Here we go. I think, do I have one more slide? I cannot find my arrow on this page. Here we go. All right. And then the last one that requires no skill is scheduling time for your business. And so I went ahead and wrote out 5 things that you can schedule. And we understand that you may not be able to make everything, but here's the reality is that if you have it in your schedule, you're like, I'm just going to make up a statistic. You're like 70 times more likely to attend versus if not. And really what it does is it puts it subconsciously and consciously in your schedule to where you're making this a priority for your life. So number one thing that you can schedule is our overviews and natural remedies calls. These are Monday through Friday, same time, same Zoom link, right? 7 o'clock. Well, the natural remedies is different from the overviews webinar wise, but number 2 is our AM power calls. Same link every day at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, or you can catch the replay. But again, we recommend trying to do them live just because you can engage, you can be here. There's a different type of energy that's felt. 3, and you're just more likely to listen, right? If you're like, I'll catch the recording later, like how many times do you actually listen to the full recording with the same intention that you do live? Number 3 is schedule the Vital Academy events on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central. And then any in-person events, right? One of our conventions coming up, maybe there's local events in your area, anything like that. Or it says any in-person events, but even if you have like a specific event with your upline online, you can put that in your calendar. And then number 5 is your personal business time. Okay, so scheduling time to do your business requires no skill. Obviously, when you sit down to do it, it might require a little bit, but that's the big thing here is that if you're not scheduling time to get it done, you're never going to get it done, right? Because what gets scheduled gets done. So go ahead and, screenshot this if you want, but I'll give you a little run through it really quick. Schedule your business time. 1, put the overviews and natural remedies calls in your calendar. Set alarms. 2, do the same thing with the AM power calls. 3, our Vital Academy events. 4, any in-person or virtual team events. And then number 5, your personal business time, you guys. I hope that this helped you kind of see some things that you could do today that can help push your business forward again that require no skill. I could probably give you 50 more things that you could work on today that require no skill. Again, but those are some great ones for you. Make sure to add everybody to our Facebook group, be engaging in that Facebook group, add your testimony, appreciate your customers, send them happy birthday, wish them happy holidays, all the things. Do the same thing with your business partners. Just check in on them. Just be a cheerleader, be a good friend, be a good coach. It doesn't mean that you have to know everything. It just means that you have to care the most and then take time to schedule your business. I hope that this helped you guys today. We will see you tomorrow on our AM power call, and we'll see you tonight on our overview. So thank you guys so much. I love you all. Take care and God bless, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.